There is a law that governs every outcome in the universe, whether man acknowledges it or not. It is the law of cause and effect. Nothing happens by accident. Every result you behold, every fortune built, every failure endured is the direct consequence of systems, and every system is born from the discipline of mind. A man's world is a reflection of his thinking a reflection of his inner order, and his inner order the consequence of the systems he has built within himself. Therefore, the wise man does not chase success, he constructs the conditions that make success unavoidable. You can tell the destiny of a man by the structure of his habits. Habits are systems in motion, unconscious routines that either serve you or sabotage you. The undisciplined man wonders why his life collapses despite his effort. He does not see that his effort operates without structure. He starts in enthusiasm and ends in exhaustion because emotion without organization is wasted energy. The disciplined man builds his success the way an engineer builds a bridge by law, by measurement, by deliberate repetition of the right actions until they form an unbreakable system. The first truth of mastery is this: emotion cannot be trusted. Emotion fluctuates like the tide. You cannot build anything lasting on the surface of such instability. One day you are confident, the next uncertain. One day you are driven, the next distracted. The weak live by these moods. The strong live by principle. They build systems that function regardless of how they feel. When emotion fades, system continues. When motivation dies, structure carries the mission forward. The difference between the drifter and the builder is rhythm. The drifter moves in emotional bursts, sprint, collapse, distraction, regret. The builder moves in steady cadence, guided by routine and self-command. He does not depend on willpower, he depends on system. He has automated discipline. He has transformed choice into law. Each day follows a pattern not because he is rigid, but because he is free. For the disciplined are the only ones who taste true freedom. Freedom from chaos, from inconsistency, from the tyranny of mood. Look closely at any man who has mastered his field. You will not find chaos behind his success, you will find order. A daily rhythm that shields him from distraction, a method that refines him without fatigue. Systems are the invisible scaffolding of greatness. They make progress inevitable because they remove uncertainty from the process. To build such systems, one must first master emotional detachment, for you cannot create order in your outer life while your inner world is in turmoil. The emotionally reactive mind builds today and destroys tomorrow. It is the enemy of permanence. You must learn to observe your feelings without obeying them. Detachment is not indifference, it is independence. It means that your clarity does not depend on comfort, that your direction does not depend on approval. When your emotions no longer dictate your actions, you have crossed the threshold of mastery. The masses are ruled by feelings. The masters rule feelings. The masses live in reaction. The masters live in response. Reaction is blind. Response is deliberate. Reaction is the child of impulse. Response is the offspring of discipline. The emotionally reactive man is like a ship tossed by waves, his course determined by whatever wind blows loudest. The detached man is the captain steady at the helm, guided by compass, not by storm. To master emotion, begin with stillness. Observe yourself in silence. Notice how quickly your mind leaps to defend, to desire, to despair. This is the untrained mind, noisy, restless, eager to be distracted. Calm it through observation. When anger arises, do not indulge it. Watch it. When fear stirs, do not argue with it. See it. The act of watching separates the watcher from the emotion, and in that separation lies power. As you cultivate detachment, discipline must take root. Discipline is the steel frame of your system. It is the power to act in alignment with purpose rather than impulse. It is not punishment but precision. Discipline is the ability to give yourself an order and obey it, to act according to principle when convenience tempts you to deviate. Each act of discipline strengthens your inner architecture. Each surrender weakens it. Discipline is not built in grand moments but in small consistencies, the choice to persist, to focus, to rise when others sleep, to speak truth when silence would be easier. No man ever failed because of lack of opportunity. He failed because of lack of system. Opportunity appears to all, but only the prepared can seize it. Preparation is a system, the consistent application of effort guided by intelligence. To wait for opportunity without preparation is to wait for the harvest without planting. Nature herself mocks the undisciplined. She rewards the systematic, those who understand that law is not suggestion. Build your inner world as an engineer builds a machine. Every part must serve a function. Every emotion must serve a purpose. Every thought must align with the objective. Waste no motion. Waste no energy. Each morning begins the sequence of command. Thought directs feeling, feeling fuels action, action reinforces belief, belief deepens purpose. This is the feedback loop of mastery. When repeated daily, it becomes automatic. Success ceases to be a struggle. It becomes a natural state of operation. To establish this rhythm, create systems that govern your time, your attention, your energy, and your thought. Time must serve purpose. Attention must serve focus. Energy must serve creation. Thought must serve truth. Let nothing within you operate without supervision. The mind left unmanaged becomes a factory for failure, producing excuses instead of results. The disciplined mind produces clarity, and clarity produces conquest. Begin by building the system of mental discipline. Each day, reserve time for silence. In that silence, strengthen your control over thought. Thoughts are like workers in a factory, some skilled, some idle, some destructive. The undisciplined man lets any thought enter and direct production. The disciplined man employs only thoughts that serve his design. He dismisses doubt, rejects distraction, and hires only those thoughts that build. This is mental management, the executive function of genius. Next, build the system of emotional regulation. When emotion rises, do not react, respond. Create a gap between stimulus and action. In that gap lives wisdom. The reactive man forfeits his destiny to his emotions. The detached man converts emotion into energy. Anger becomes power when directed toward purpose. Fear becomes caution when purified by reason. Sadness becomes insight when translated into reflection. Emotional transmutation is the highest art of discipline. Then, build the system of consistent execution. Do what must be done every day, without exception. Success is not built in bursts, but in continuity. The mind resists repetition, but repetition is the foundation of mastery. The same law that makes a muscle grow through consistent tension makes the mind grow through consistent discipline. Every day you delay, you weaken your habit of command. Every day you act, you strengthen it. The difference between amateurs and masters is system. The amateur relies on feeling, the master relies on structure. The amateur asks for motivation, the master demands order. The amateur surrenders to mood, the master follows method. Emotion is a child, it must be guided by the adult of reason. Let no emotion make a decision for you. Let discipline interpret emotion and then choose. If you allow emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts, you command your future. Your system must include reflection. Each evening, audit your conduct. Ask yourself, what thoughts weaken me today? What reactions cost me energy? What actions aligned with my purpose? Reflection converts experience into structure. The unexamined day is wasted. The examined day becomes blueprint. Guard the entrances of your mind. Your environment is part of your system. Do not surround yourself with noise, with gossip, with negativity. Association is mental nutrition. Bad company is poison. Build an environment that reinforces your standards. Discipline is not sustainable in chaos. Order your space and it will order your spirit. Build also the system of belief. Belief is the foundation of endurance. You cannot persist in what you secretly doubt. Therefore, you must train your subconscious mind through repetition of purpose. Speak your goal daily as if it were law. Visualization, affirmation, autosuggestion, these are the tools of subconscious construction. The mind becomes whatever it is most consistently told. Plant the seed of certainty and water it with repetition. The mind that believes in its purpose cannot be defeated by external opposition. Resistance only strengthens conviction when the system is strong. But if the foundation is weak, resistance destroys resolve. This is why most men quit, not because they are incapable, but because their systems collapse under emotional weight. Build your systems stronger than circumstance. To make success inevitable, you must make progress measurable. What is measured can be mastered. Vague ambition produces vague results. Define your metrics, hours of focus, tasks completed, principles applied, and track them relentlessly. Numbers do not lie, emotion does. The disciplined builder replaces opinion with data. Be wary of inconsistency. The world respects power but bows to persistence. One act of greatness impresses, consistent greatness transforms. Systems convert effort into eternity. When your habits become stronger than your moods, when your schedule outlasts your excuses, when your discipline functions automatically, success is no longer an event, it is identity. Continue to build your systems layer by layer, a morning routine that centers the mind, a discipline of study that expands the intellect, a habit of reflection that refines the soul, a pattern of execution that compounds results. Each element interlocks until your life becomes a machine of purpose. This is how inevitability is built, not in miracles, but in methods. The world calls such a man lucky, but luck is merely the visible surface of invisible order. When preparation meets opportunity, the untrained call it fate. But it is not fate, it is foresight organized into form. When you master emotional detachment, you become immune to the fluctuations that destroy ordinary men. You no longer panic in downturns, nor become arrogant in victory. You remain steady, a mountain amid storms. And that steadiness attracts power, for power gravitates toward stability. The calm man commands not because he seeks to, but because others trust his silence more than their own noise. To build systems that make success inevitable is to live as nature lives, by law, not by accident. The seed does not question the sun. It obeys the cycle of growth. The river does not debate its path. It follows the law of descent. Likewise, the master builder does not argue with discipline. He submits to it, knowing that through it he becomes free. He who builds systems need not chase motivation, for his very structure creates momentum. He who disciplines his thoughts need not seek inspiration, for his mind itself becomes a generator of energy. The man of system is calm amid chaos, for he knows that order is his weapon. If you would build such a mind, begin today. Begin by ordering your thoughts, your actions, your environment. Begin by separating what matters from what distracts. Begin by choosing one principle and living by it completely. The first act of order ignites the second, and soon order becomes your nature. There is a dignity that arises from consistency, a quiet power that others feel. You no longer explain yourself. Your results speak. You no longer chase attention. Your work demands it. You no longer seek permission. Your discipline becomes authority. And as the years pass, you will see what few ever realize, that success was never a mystery. It was always system. It was always law. It was always the consequence of deliberate inner order. So build, brick by brick, law by law, discipline by discipline, until the structure of your mind stands unshakable. Build systems that outlast passion, that outlive distraction, that operate even in fatigue. Build systems that make victory habitual and failure impossible. For when your systems are right, success is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And when that day arrives, the world will look upon you and whisper the word they use for men who seem destined to win. They will call you inevitable. Discipline is not the denial of freedom, it is the creation of it. The man who lives without order is a slave to chance. He wakes when chance allows, works when chance demands, and rests when chance exhausts him. He calls this freedom, but it is only drift wearing the mask of liberty. True freedom is the ability to decide and to act according to principle without being overruled by impulse. Discipline is the invisible wall that keeps your higher self safe from the chaos of your lower nature. Build that wall brick by brick until even your most violent emotion cannot breach it. Every act of discipline is a declaration of independence from mediocrity. When you choose structure over impulse, you proclaim that you will no longer live as a reaction but as a cause. When you hold to your plan in the face of boredom, you separate yourself from the billions who quit when excitement fades. The mind trained to obey itself ceases to seek external rule. It becomes the monarch of its own domain. Once you have established order within, you must extend it without. External systems are extensions of internal law. Your desk, your schedule, your finances, your relationships, all are mirrors, reflecting the architecture of your mind. Disorder in one is disorder in all. If you cannot manage a drawer, you cannot manage an empire. The same law governs both. Clean your surroundings, organize your tasks, automate the small so that the great may receive your full attention. A mind that wastes energy on trivia cannot build monuments. Automation is the servant of mastery. Anything that can be turned into habit should be. Every repeated decision steals energy from creativity. Reduce decision fatigue by pre-designing your days. The master builder eats, rises, reads, works, and reflects according to a rhythm. This rhythm becomes his power. To outsiders, it looks monotonous. To him, it is music. Within that music, he creates worlds. Guard your mornings as a general guards the gates of his fortress. The first hour is the commander of the rest. Begin with stillness, affirmation, and direction. Feed the subconscious clear orders while it is most receptive. Write your intentions. Repeat your chief aim. Visualize your system operating flawlessly. When you set the mind at dawn, the day obeys until dusk. During labor, narrow your focus to the immediate task. Multitasking is divided will. Divided will is weakened power. Do one thing as if it were the only thing. The concentrated ray burns. The scattered light warms nothing. Concentration is the secret weapon of all great creators. The undisciplined mind seeks novelty. The disciplined mind seeks completion. Completion compounds confidence, and confidence multiplies performance. One victory of focus becomes the seed of 10 more. At midday, pause to recalibrate. Detachment is not a single act, but a recurring discipline. Step back mentally. Survey your work. Correct drift. The pilot does not wait until the ocean to adjust his course. He checks instruments continuously. Likewise, check your thoughts for negativity, your posture for fatigue, your purpose for alignment. Small corrections prevent great crashes. In the evening, enter reflection. Ask, what did I build today? Where did emotions still rule? What moment tested my system? And what lesson did it reveal? Record it. Reflection is the accounting department of mastery. Without it, you cannot measure progress. Without measurement, you cannot refine design. The successful are relentless auditors of their own conduct. They prefer truth, however painful, to illusion, however pleasant. As you live by system, something profound occurs. Peace replaces strain. You cease to fight with yourself. Your will and your actions march in formation. The energy once wasted on indecision becomes creative fuel. Calmness becomes your natural climate. This calmness is not dull. It is charged. It is readiness without restlessness, motion without haste. From it flows effectiveness. People will wonder how you accomplish so much without appearing hurried. You will smile, for you know the answer. System. Guard against the false belief that spontaneity is superior to structure. Spontaneity without foundation is chaos. True spontaneity arises from mastery. The pianist improvises only because he has mastered scales. The athlete reacts instantly because discipline has trained his reflexes. Freedom is the reward of form. The more perfect your system, the more effortless your expression. The next law of inevitability is compounding. Systems multiply results by repetition. One disciplined act repeated daily for a year equals transformation. The undisciplined man underestimates this law because the change of a day appears small. He forgets that the change of 1,000 days remakes destiny. Tiny disciplines build titanic power. Every repetition strengthens the neural path until what was once effort becomes instinct. Instinct, guided by principle, is genius. Emotion will attempt rebellion. It will whisper that you deserve rest, indulgence, exception. It will say, just this once. But every exception erodes the wall of order. The moment you obey emotion over system, you teach your mind that feeling outranks principle. Soon the empire of discipline crumbles. Therefore, when the whisper comes, answer, I decide what I deserve. Then act according to your law, not your longing. Do not fear austerity. What seems strict becomes sacred. There is a purity in doing what you said you would do simply because you said it. Integrity is the cornerstone of system. Each promise kept adds one stone to the foundation of trust within yourself. When you can rely on your own word, the world must eventually rely on you. Understand also the system of rest. Discipline does not mean constant strain. Even machines require maintenance. Rest consciously, not as escape but as restoration. Schedule recreation. Do not drift into it. Let even leisure obey intention. In balance, efficiency multiplies. As your system matures, you will perceive a deeper pattern that every principle of success reflects a law of nature. Rhythm, polarity, growth, compensation, these are universal. Align with them, and you borrow the strength of the cosmos. The tide does not argue, it follows law. The disciplined mind likewise flows with the rhythm of cause and effect, no longer resisting what is, but directing it. You will find that calmness draws opportunity. People trust composure more than charisma. The steady become magnets for responsibility, for wealth, for leadership. Others feel safe in their presence because stability is rare and precious. The emotionally erratic exhaust everyone around them. The self-controlled invigorate all they touch. Keep building. Layer patience upon precision, humility upon strength. Let every failure refine design. Never destroy it. System does not eliminate failure. It converts failure into data. The undisciplined man experiences defeat and calls it final. The builder studies it and adjusts. Each setback strengthens the algorithm of success. And when wealth or recognition arrive, do not abandon the structure that produced them. Success tests discipline more severely than hardship. Many who endure struggle collapse in comfort because they mistake arrival for completion. System is not a bridge to cross once. It is the road on which you travel forever. Guard it. The highest aim of system is not achievement, but transformation. Through routine, the mind becomes different, in kind, quieter, clearer, more powerful. You cease to need inspiration because you have become it. Your presence radiates assurance. Your silence commands attention. The system has done its final work. It has made success not an act, but an identity. Build until even your failures serve your progress, until every motion reinforces your purpose, until every breath aligns with your design. Then you will stand among the men and women whose outcomes are inevitable, whose lives operate by the same precision as the stars. For destiny, too, is a system, and it yields to those who understand its law. Calm power is the rarest and most commanding force on earth. It does not announce itself, it radiates. It does not need to prove, to argue, to persuade, it simply is, and by its presence it orders the chaos around it. When you build systems of discipline, you begin to generate this quiet electricity, the atmosphere of control that emanates from a man who has mastered his own mind. You will not need to tell anyone that you are in command. They will feel it. Calm power does not come from arrogance or aggression. It comes from the absolute certainty that you are the cause, never the effect. The undisciplined man dissipates his power through noise, through complaint, through reaction, through the endless commentary of insecurity. But the man who has organized his inner world no longer leaks power through words. His silence becomes authority, his composure becomes proof. The less he speaks, the more weight his words carry when he chooses to use them. This is the law of calm power. What you control within will eventually control what is without. You cannot govern others until you can govern emotion. You cannot inspire others until you can inspire yourself in solitude. You cannot lead until you can follow the law of your own discipline. Control of self is not the first leadership, it is the only leadership. Do not misunderstand calmness as passivity. It is readiness. It is the sword sheathed, not forgotten. The disciplined mind acts when the moment calls, but it never reacts when provoked. It has replaced reactivity with calculation and calculation with command. It has burned through emotion until only purpose remains. If someone insults you and you stay silent, the ignorant will think you are weak, but those who understand will see strength, for it takes no effort to strike, but great mastery to remain composed. Calmness disarms hostility, reveals immaturity, and amplifies authority. When emotion meets neutrality, emotion destroys itself. The calm man always wins because he never enters the battle. He observes until his opponent exhausts himself. As your calmness grows, your perception sharpens. The noise that once consumed you begins to fade. You see patterns where others see randomness. You anticipate consequences while others chase impulses. This is the beginning of true intelligence, the marriage of reason and restraint. The emotionally reactive man cannot see clearly because his mind is clouded with the fog of feeling. But the detached thinker sees through the fog, and what he sees, he masters. Now comes the next phase of mastery: transmutation, the transformation of raw emotion into creative energy. Every passion, every frustration, every impulse carries energy. The undisciplined man releases that energy in destruction, in arguments, in distraction, in indulgence. The disciplined man channels it toward purpose. Anger becomes drive, fear becomes foresight, desire becomes vision. To transmute emotion, you must first acknowledge it. Suppression is weakness disguised as strength. Denial is fear, pretending to be control. You cannot transform what you refuse to face. When emotion arises, observe it, name it, and redirect it. Ask, what law is this emotion revealing? What opportunity for refinement lies within this discomfort? The mind trained to ask such questions never wastes pain. Imagine a great furnace at the center of your being. Every emotion that enters it becomes fuel. Fuel for persistence, for clarity, for creation. In this furnace, even failure burns into wisdom. Nothing is lost. The man who can transmute emotion can never truly be defeated, for every experience strengthens his system. Emotion is the current of life. Discipline is the conductor. Without the conductor, current becomes chaos. With it, current becomes power. The wise do not fear emotion. They harness it. They do not suppress it. They direct it. They do not flee from intensity. They refine it into intention. Once you master transmutation, life begins to yield to you. You will find yourself creating from a depth you never knew existed. Your work will carry authority because it will be charged with the voltage of sublimated emotion energy purified by discipline. Every great creation in history, every masterpiece, every empire, every breakthrough was born of transmuted passion. Uncontrolled passion destroys, refined passion constructs. To sustain transmutation, your systems must be aligned with higher order. No system built on selfishness will last. It collapses under its own corruption. The systems that endure are those rooted in contribution. Discipline without purpose becomes tyranny. Purpose without discipline becomes fantasy. Combine them, and you create a force that reshapes the world. Therefore, link your system to something greater than comfort. Build not only for wealth, but for worth. Build not only for victory, but for vision. Let your purpose stretch beyond the narrow circle of ego, for only what serves others will stand the test of time. The selfish may rise faster, but they fall sooner. The disciplined builder, aligned with principle, rises slower but forever. Now, understand another law, the law of continuity. Momentum is built through unbroken sequence. One disciplined day creates another, and soon the chain becomes unbreakable. Break the chain once, and you must start anew. Therefore, guard continuity as sacred. The disciplined mind does not need perfection, it needs persistence. Consistency outweighs intensity. Progress is not a sprint of brilliance, but a march of order. Every time you repeat your system, you reinforce your identity. The act becomes easier, smoother, stronger. Eventually, discipline ceases to feel like effort. It becomes instinct. You no longer think about what to do. You simply do what must be done. When discipline becomes automatic, success becomes inevitable. At this stage, others will begin to notice a shift in you. They will sense that you move differently, slower but surer. They will see that your face is calm while theirs are restless, that your tone is steady while theirs wavers, that your focus is impenetrable. They will not understand how you remain unmoved by praise or panic. They will call you cold. They will call you detached. They will call you lucky. But the truth is simpler. You have built a system so strong that emotion no longer determines outcome. You will notice that the more disciplined you become, the more your circle changes. Chaos cannot tolerate order. Weakness resents strength. People who once celebrated you may now avoid you, for your clarity exposes their confusion. Do not be disturbed by this. It is the natural pruning of progress. Those who cannot operate by law will flee from those who embody it. Stay calm, stay kind, stay detached. Continue building. As your systems solidify, you will understand the next law, the law of compounding consciousness. The mind that practices discipline daily begins to awaken new layers of awareness. You start to see yourself not as the doer, but as the designer. You operate above impulse, above circumstance, above noise. You begin to understand that mastery is not doing more, it is doing less, better. It is reducing life to essentials and executing them flawlessly. The complex collapses into the simple, and simplicity becomes supremacy. This is the stage at which success becomes inevitable, not because you have reached the end, but because you can no longer go backward. The momentum of mastery carries you forward as naturally as gravity pulls the river to the sea. You no longer force progress. You flow through it. Your calmness becomes power, your power becomes peace, and your peace becomes presence. People will feel your order and call it luck, but you will know it as law. Do not stop here. The next test will come from abundance itself. Success will tempt you to abandon the system that produced it. The world will whisper that you no longer need discipline, that you have earned ease. That is the voice of decay. The tree that stops growing begins to die. Keep refining, keep building. Make discipline your delight, make system your art, make mastery your lifestyle. True wealth is not measured by possessions, but by control over time, thought, and temperament. A man who can control himself possesses all that matters, for from that control springs everything else: peace, prosperity, purpose. The universe rewards order with abundance. It is drawn to the discipline the way metal is drawn to magnet. And yet, the ultimate goal of building systems is not domination of the world, it is liberation from chaos. It is inner peace through external order. When every part of your life moves in harmony with principle, you cease to struggle against reality. You begin to work with it. The disciplined man does not fight the current, he directs it. You will eventually reach a moment of silence so profound it frightens you, the silence of full control. No noise in the mind, no tremor in the heart, no hesitation in the will. In that stillness, you will discover what all great teachers meant by mastery. It is not the absence of weakness, it is the presence of structure so strong that weakness cannot penetrate it. You have become what all success seekers desire, but few achieve: a system unto yourself, self-contained, self-directed, self-reinforcing. You have become inevitable. So, let the world chase trends and pleasures. Let others seek shortcuts and applause. You will stay with your structure. You will refine your rhythm. You will remain calm as they panic, focused as they scatter, composed as they crumble, for you know what they do not. Success is not emotion, it is engineering. And when the day arrives that they call you unstoppable, unshakable, untouchable, you will know the truth that you are none of these things by chance. You are the consequence of law. You are the product of discipline. You are the embodiment of system. And that is the highest form of power, the power that no one can take, because it was never given, it was built. And so, at the summit of all mastery, one truth remains: the mind is both the battlefield and the throne. Until you claim it, every victory outside you is temporary. Once you claim it, even apparent defeat serves you. Systems are not cages, they are scaffolds. They hold your highest self in place while it builds what emotion could never sustain. Every routine, every law, every act of discipline has been preparing you for this realization that success is not an event you reach, but a state you sustain. From here on, your command is simple: guard the throne of your mind. Let no thought enter without purpose, no emotion reign without reason, no action occur without alignment. Let the old chaos knock at the gates and find you unmovable. Let the world swing between noise and novelty while you remain still, deliberate, and directed. The disciplined mind walks through storms as through sunlight. It builds while others complain, acts while others hesitate, reflects while others react. It turns every condition into opportunity because it understands that power is never lost, only misdirected. Order it, and it obeys. Scatter it, and it devours itself. Build systems that hold you steady in motion, that remind you who you are when the world forgets, that lift you back to purpose when weariness tempts you to drift. Keep refining them until they require no thought, until they breathe for you, until excellence becomes as natural as breath. When that happens, you will discover a serenity deeper than pleasure, the serenity of control. You will rise each day already victorious, because your mind has been trained to serve your highest law. And wherever such a mind walks, it leaves structure behind, in its work, in its words, in its legacy. So rise now, builder of order. Let mediocrity drown in its excuses while you move in quiet certainty. Build your systems. Keep them sacred. Let them carry you when strength wanes. Let them speak for you when words fail. Let them make your success inevitable. For the man who commands himself commands the world, and the world, in time, must obey.